Welcome back to Speak Easy English, the place where we make learning English natural, easy, and fun. So, I want you to picture this for a second. Have you ever been in a meeting and maybe your boss or a client asks you this really direct question and you completely blank and you just say, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there, right?
Right. And you can almost feel the air just like leave the room. The conversation just hits this massive brick wall. Or, maybe you're with a friend and they ask a really simple question and giving them a flat, I don't know, makes you sound kind of cold or even slightly rude without you meaning to at all.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. It's such a common trap for anyone learning the language. I mean, we rely on I don't know because, well, it feels safe.
It's the default setting.
Exactly, it's the default. But looking at our source material for today's deep dive, there is this crucial point we really need to establish right away. And that is, saying I don't know is not grammatically wrong.
Wait, really? So the grammar is fine?
Oh, absolutely. Your syntax is perfectly fine. The issue is purely pragmatic. Native speakers tend to avoid it because, like you said, it just halts the momentum of the interaction.
Right. It's a momentum killer.
Yeah, so upgrading this one simple phrase can really drastically change how fluent, natural, and, confident you sound in your daily life.
I love that because that momentum is exactly what we want to keep going.
Right.
When you are learning English, you want your conversations to flow naturally, not stop and start like a broken engine.
Exactly. You want it to feel easy.
So to help you navigate this, our sources actually break these alternative phrases down into two distinct toolkits. We have this casual, friendly toolkit for when you're just hanging out with friends and family, and then we have a professional toolkit tailored specifically for the workplace or maybe a formal school environment.
And the division between casual and professional is vital here because language is entirely dependent on context. I mean, the phrase that makes your best friend laugh might actually make your manager question your reliability.
Oh, for sure. You do not want to mix those two up. So let's start in the most comfortable environment possible. You are sitting in the living room with your family, or maybe you're grabbing a coffee with your
The
friends.
low stakes
Right.
situations.
The stakes are super low, and the goal is just this relaxed, effortless connection. So the first two phrases our sources group together here are, I have no clue, and I have no idea.
Yeah, these two are incredibly common and they function as the closest siblings to, I don't know. I mean, they are basically direct one-to-one swaps.
Okay, so you can just use them interchangeably.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But if we look at why native speakers prefer them over I don't know, it really comes down to conversational softening. Because I don't know is a hard stop. It can feel like a rejection of the other person's curiosity.
Right, like you just don't care.
Exactly. But saying I have no clue softens that abruptness.
Because it implies you're at least searching for the answer, right? I always think of the word clue, and it gives me this great visual. It makes it sound like a mystery you are both trying to solve, like a detective with zero evidence.
Oh, I love that analogy. Yes.
You are telling them, hey, I don't have the missing piece of information either, rather than just shutting the door in their face. It makes the language feel so much more colorful.
Precisely. You are shifting the tone from this rigid lack of knowledge to a shared state of searching. It adds a really subtle layer of color to your vocabulary. Like, let's say a friend asks, hey, what time does the concert start tonight?
Yeah.
And you reply, I have no idea. You are delivering the exact same information or lack of information, but the delivery just feels so much more conversational and
It
relaxed.
really does. It just feels a lot more human. But what if we want to lean even further into that relaxed, casual vibe? Because the sources highlight another phrase for this toolkit, and it's one of my favorites, beats me.
Ah, yes. Beat me. This one is fascinating from a linguistic standpoint because it's an idiom, meaning you aren't literally saying something is physically hitting you.
Right. No one's actually getting beat up.
Right, right. In everyday usage, it simply means the question itself has defeated you. You're stumped. And it carries this very specific, lighthearted rhythm.
It does. It's almost like, okay, think of it like the question itself was a physical opponent in a wrestling match.
Oh, okay.
And you were admitting the question won, it beat you. You're tapping out. But honestly, doesn't beats me run the risk of sounding a little too dismissive? Like if my friend asks me a serious question about their life and I just say, beach me, I feel like they might think I just don't care about their problem.
That is a very astute observation, and it highlights exactly why context is everything. You cannot use beats me for serious, emotional, or high-stakes topics. It completely requires a low-stakes environment to work.
So like fun things only.
Exactly. It's designed for trivial things. Picking a restaurant, guessing the weather, or, trying to remember the name of an actor in a movie. If you are debating whether to get tacos or pizza and your friend asks which one is better, beats me is perfect.
I see. It's almost a playful surrender to the question. And I imagine body language plays a huge role here too, right? Because you rarely ever hear someone say, beats me, while standing completely stiff like a robot.
Oh, the physical component is almost inseparable from the phrase. Native speakers will instinctively shrug their shoulders, maybe raise their eyebrows, or turn their palms upward.
Yeah, the classic shrug.
It really is a full-body expression of casual uncertainty. The language and the body mechanics work together to signal to the other person that, hey, the conversation is still friendly, even if I don't have the answer.
I love that. I am definitely keeping that one reserved strictly for weekend trivia and pizza debates.
Good call.
Moving on, there is one more phrase in our casual toolkit. It's a bit longer, but the sources emphasize how useful it is for bonding. The phrase is, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, this phrase does something very special in a social interaction. We talked about how, I don't know, can create a wall between two people, right? One person asks for a resource and the other refuses to provide it.
Right.
Your guess is as good as mine. Flips that dynamic entirely. It's used specifically when both people share the exact same lack of information.
Wow. So it actually bridges the gap.
Exactly.
Like if a coworker asks me, why did management change the software system again? And I say, your guess is as good as mine. I'm actually validating their confusion.
You absolutely are.
I'm telling them their attempt to guess the answer is just as valid as anything I could come up with. It feels incredibly empathetic.
Empathy is the exact right word. You are aligning yourself with the speaker. You are putting yourself on their level in the exact same state of confusion. It builds camaraderie.
It's like teaming up.
Yeah. Instead of one person being the interrogator and the other being the ignorant party, you instantly become two people standing shoulder to shoulder looking at a problem together.
It is a brilliant way to build a connection out of a negative situation. So, summing up our casual toolkit for you guys, we have the softening effect of I have no clue or I have no idea. We have the playful, low-stakes surrender of beats me, and we have the highly empathetic bridge builder, your guess is as good as mine.
And honestly, armed with those three, your informal English will immediately sound more vibrant and native. But as we established earlier, we don't spend our entire lives in low-stakes environments.
Sadly, no.
Right. The social utility of these phrases completely falls apart if you take them into the wrong setting.
Oh, absolutely. If we pivot from the living room into the boardroom or, say, a university classroom, the rules change entirely. I mean, imagine a major client asks you for the quarterly budget projections, and you shrug your shoulders and say, beats me.
Oh, no.
That is going to be a very short meeting. You might even lose the client.
You really might. The consequences in a professional environment are very real. Because the standard for communication at work isn't just about exchanging information, right? It's about projecting reliability, competence, and authority.
Right. You have to look like you know what you're doing.
Exactly. And admitting you don't know something at work is perfectly fine. No employer expects you to be a walking encyclopedia. But how you navigate that lack of knowledge dictates how capable you appear to your peers.
We want to maintain that image of being capable and fluent, even when we are totally stumped. So let's open up the professional toolkit. What is the first alternative here?
The first phrase the sources recommend is, I'm not entirely sure, but I can find out for you. And the critical part of this phrase is the second half.
The I can find out for you part.
Yes. It immediately transitions the conversation from a lack of knowledge to a demonstration of problem-solving skills.
You know, this makes me think of a relay race.
Oh, how so?
Like, a conversation at work is like passing a baton. Your boss asks you a question, so they're handing the baton to you. If you just say, I don't know, you are dropping the baton on the track. The momentum dies. The race is over.
That's a great visual.
Right. But when you say, I'm not entirely sure, but I can find out for you, you are catching the baton. You might not be at the finish line yet, but you are keeping the race going. You are running forward for your team or for your customer.
That analogy perfectly captures the mechanics of a professional conversation. The momentum is the most important element. You are acknowledging the gap in your knowledge. I'm not entirely sure, which is honest.
Right. You aren't lying.
No, not at all. But by immediately pairing it with an action plan, you transform a moment of potential weakness into a display of resourcefulness. You are signaling to your manager or client that you take their questions seriously enough to go investigate it.
It just completely reframes the interaction. You go from being unhelpful to being totally proactive. But what happens if you are in a situation where you don't necessarily need to go investigate something new, but you just need to verify your facts? Like, say you are in a big meeting, all eyes are on you, and someone asks a really highly specific question.
Ah, for that specific environment, the sources suggest another great phrase. Let me look into that and get back to you.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, this phrase is heavily favored in business meetings because it projects a very calm, collected authority. You are gracefully owning the fact that you don't have the data right in front of you, while simultaneously making a professional promise to provide a resolution later.
I really appreciate the tone of that phrase. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound panicked at all because when people are put on the spot, the instinct is often to stutter or get super embarrassed or worse, just guess the answer to save face.
And guessing in a professional setting is incredibly dangerous. If you provide incorrect data just to avoid saying, I don't know, you can seriously damage your credibility long term. Let me look into that and get back to you. Buys you time. It signals to your colleagues that you value accuracy over a quick, potentially flawed response.
It's about being reliable.
Exactly. Over time, that specific habit builds massive trust. People learn that when you speak, you are providing verified information.
It really shows a high level of maturity in your communication.
Mm-hmm.
You're organized enough to just add their question to your to-do list and handle it properly. Now, both of those phrases, I can find out for you and let me look into that, are great, but they are a bit long.
We are a little wordy, yeah.
What if you were in a really fast-paced environment? Say you are a nurse on a busy hospital floor, or maybe you're managing a restaurant during the dinner rush and your boss asks you something in passing. You don't have time for a full sentence.
That's a great point. Efficiency in language is just as critical as the vocabulary itself. So for those fast-paced scenarios, the sources provide a really nice condensed alternative, which is, I'll check on that.
I'll check on that.
Yep. It carries the exact same professional weight and makes the same promise, but it fits into a split-second interaction.
I'll check on that. It is so incredibly quick. It takes, what, less than 2 seconds to say, but it entirely preserves your capable tone.
Yeah.
You aren't slowing anyone down, but you're still taking responsibility for the question.
Exactly. Now, if we take a step back and look at all three of these professional phrases side by side, so I can find out for you, let me look into that and I'll check on that. There is a very distinct linguistic pattern that emerges here.
Wait, let me look at all three of those.
Yeah.
Okay, they all center around action verbs. Find out, look into, check on. Is the core trick for sounding professional just pivoting the sentence to an action?
That is the exact mechanism at play. In a polite, professional setting, sounding fluent and confident isn't about knowing everything. It is demonstrated through action and responsibility.
Yeah.
When you say, I don't know, the entire focus of the sentence is on the negative, the absence of your knowledge. But by utilizing these action verbs, you force the listener to focus on the positive. You focus their attention entirely on what you are going to do to solve their problem.
That is a massive shift in perspective. I mean, it goes way beyond just memorizing vocabulary words off a list. You are actually adopting the cultural pragmatics of the English language. You are learning how native speakers navigate the social friction of not having an answer.
It really is the difference between simply translating your thoughts and truly communicating with cultural awareness. You are selecting the exact right tool to manage the social dynamics of the room.
Which brings everything full circle for our deep dive today. Upgrading your English doesn't mean you have to constantly reach for big, complicated, fancy words. Often the biggest leaps in fluency come from taking a basic everyday phrase, a default setting like, I don't know, and intentionally replacing it with something perfectly tailored to the situation.
It requires a high level of situational awareness, which is really the true hallmark of an advanced speaker.
So to summarize for you listening at home, if you are hanging out with a friend and they ask you a random question about pop culture, you can easily deploy a casual, physical, beats me, and keep the vibe perfectly relaxed.
Exactly.
But if your manager stops you in the hallway to ask about a project update, you know exactly how to catch that conversational baton. You say, I'll check on that, projecting absolute competence and keeping the momentum moving forward.
And as you begin to integrate these specific tools into your daily conversations, I want to leave you with one final kind of lingering question to ponder on your own language journey.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Throughout this deep dive, we have focused entirely on how changing our vocabulary changes how other people perceive us. But consider the internal effect. When we consciously choose to change our words from a passive stuff like, I don't know, to an active promise like, I can find out, do we actually change our own internal mindset? Do we stop being passive observers in our own lives and actually train ourselves to become active problem solvers?
Wow, that is an incredibly powerful concept. Does upgrading our English actually upgrade how we view ourselves? I absolutely love that. I highly encourage you to carry that thought with you as you practice these phrases this week. Thank you all so much for taking this deep dive with us today.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
We just love seeing the dedication you bring to mastering this language. Keep practicing, keep experimenting with these new tools, and remember that we are always here to help make your English journey natural, easy, and fun. Take care of yourselves, and we will catch you next time.